Hello, 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 everyone. Oh, I just realized I goofed on something. Hold on, let me fix this. You guys get to see it live. I forgot that I have updated what my intended thing should look like. Okay, it's better. Let's see if I can't shift this way. No, it doesn't work. All right. I'll have a little bit of maybe if I. Hey, there you go. I'm off center, but we can fix that. Fix that later. Uh, maybe just do this. I'm big now. I'm huge. Anyway, hello, hello, hello. I just wanted this background behind me because didn't like that like those little black bars hanging out there. So we've got that fixed, and as per usual, we are back. We have tea, but a little bit different tea this time. Have some iced tea. This is a tea I've had for a while, but I don't think I've had it on stream before. It's a blood orange tea. It's orange, hibiscus, and rose. Very, very good. Caffeine free, and that's why you haven't seen me with it before. I tried to save this for a friend of mine who can't have caffeine, so I made this iced tea when we went over to her place recently, and this is what I have left, so I might as well finish it. It's quite good, even though rose and hibiscus not really my preferred flavors. They are good. I mean, I don't hate them, and I definitely get why people like them a lot. It's just for me, just kind of not my not my cup of tea, as it were. Well, anyway, that said, I was thinking about it, and as we've gone over Trump, the Trump lawsuit, or I guess criminal charges. I don't know how best to the Trump trial. There we go. It was occurring to me the more and more that I kind of wish that I had gone over the indictment. I had skipped it before with the intention just being like, well, it's a lot, and who knows how much we can parse out of it. But I've since looked over it, and it seems pretty accessible, actually. Not to mention very informative. And the more we talk about this stuff, the more it's going to be helpful to know that we've discussed this. So I guess that's the plan for today. I know someone in my audience asked to me to review some other stuff, and I will get to that. I do intend to. Um, I just will do that, another time. Don't mind me. I'm fiddling with. Probably get to that throughout the rest of the week. Oh, hey Galit, thanks for showing up. So, in case you missed it, yeah, we're going to go over the indictment papers. The idea being, it's getting kind of it's a little bit getting in our way that I haven't I haven't been that I haven't discussed it and I haven't gone over it on stream. So we're just gonna go over that. It takes as long as it takes. I don't imagine it'll take terribly long. Most of this is just gonna be reading through what ends up being the evidence. So a lot of this stuff is not super valuable to go over. We can kind of briefly shoot through this. Oh, I wish I could highlight stuff with this PDF view because I want to be able to show where I'm reading from. But okay, so we can start with the introduction. So, general allegations. At times, material to this indictment on or about the dates and approximate time stated below. Introduction. 1. Defendant Donald J. Trump was the 45th President of the United States of America. He held office from January 20th, 2017 to January 20th, 2021. As President, Trump had lawful access to the most sensitive classified documents and national defense information gathered and owned by the United States government, including information from the agencies that comprise the United States intelligence community and the United States Department of Defense. So that is a brief summary. Obviously, this is the introduction. Uh, I was glancing ahead to see if this is all introduction stuff, but that's fine. We can read through the introduction as well, even though it should be less detailed than what we'll see later. Over the course of his presidency, Trump gathered newspapers, press clippings, letters, notes, cards, photographs, official documents, and other materials in cardboard boxes that he kept in the White House. Among the materials Trump stored in these boxes were hundreds of classified documents. So far, just laying the groundwork, right? Nothing wrong has been done, right? This is completely fine. So as far as I understand, so far. The classified documents Trump stored in his boxes included information regarding defense and weapons capabilities of both the United States and foreign countries. This sentence right here is part of why I wanted to go over the indictment. To understand what kind of classified, it's one thing to say, oh, it's a secret. It's another thing to understand why these secrets were important to be kept away from the public, that, and they in particular away from adversarial uh, countries and agents, why it's important that these stay under wraps. The United States nuclear programs, potential vulnerabilities of the United States and its allies to military attack, and plans for the possible retention in and plans for possible retaliation in response to a foreign attack. So yeah, all of that is what's possible, what's supposed to be in these boxes. The unauthorized disclosure of these classified documents could put at risk the national security of the United States, foreign relations, the safety of the United States military, and the human resources, and the continued viability of sensitive intelligence collection methods. This is why it's important. So now you know, if like you want to remind yourself why what's being discussed in this trial is important, just go to the introduction part 3. I'm not gonna, I'm gonna try to stop not very much just because of how long this is, though I don't want to go without commentary entirely. So we'll try to strike a balance. At 12 p.m. on January 20th, 2021, Trump ceased to be president, despite what people might tell you. Good tea. As he departed the White House, Trump caused scores of boxes, many of which contained classified documents, to be transported to the Mar-a-Lago Club in Palm Beach, Florida, where he maintained his residence. Trump was not authorized to possess or retain those classified documents. Now, so far, like, maybe this was a mistake, right? That should be like pretty clear to your mind, especially because said earlier, a lot of the stuff that was in their newspapers, press clippings, these are not sensitive materials. These are things that he should be able to take with him, obviously. So that should be that should be a thought on your mind, and we'll get to that. But just something to keep in mind. Maybe at this point, you can think it was unintentional. As I understand, that's what was going on with the boxes Biden was supposed to have had. Like, he thought it was other stuff, things get misplaced, but when asked, he returned them, is my understanding. 5. The Mar-a-Lago Club was an active social club which, between January 2021 and August 2022, hosted events for tens of thousands of members and guests. After Trump's presidency, the Mar-a-Lago Club was not an authorized location for the storage, possession, review, display, or discussion of classified documents. Nevertheless, Trump stored his boxes containing classified documents in various locations at the Mar-a-Lago Club, including in a ballroom, a bathroom and shower, an office space, his bedroom, and a storage room. So far, remember, just what can be observed without looking into intent, right? This is what did happen. The question is, was it intentional, so on and so forth. But we will doubtlessly get to that. I know it's in here. 6. On 2 occasions in 2021, Trump showed classified documents to others as follows. A. In July 2021, a Trump National Golf Club at Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster, New Jersey, the Bedminster Club, during an audio-recorded meeting with a writer, a publisher, and 2 members of his staff, none of whom possessed a security clearance, Trump showed and described a plan of attack that Trump said was prepared for him by the Department of Defense and a senior military official. Trump told the individuals that the plan was highly confidential and secret. Trump also said, as president, I could have declassified it, and now I can't, but this is still a secret. Now, this will be corroborated later, but this is where you see immediately he knows what he's doing, what he did, he wasn't allowed to be doing. As evidenced by the fact that, 1, nobody has a security clearance, and he's showing us to people in an instance where he's being recorded, and he knows he's being recorded. Additionally, he made clear that these are not declassified. He could have declassified them when he was president, but didn't. B. In August or September 2021 at the Bedminster Club, Trump showed a representative of his political action committee who did not possess a security clearance a classified map related to a military operation and told the representative that he should not be showing it to the representative and that the representative should not get too close. Again, he knows he displayed an understanding that he wasn't allowed to do what he was doing. 7 on does this is this all okay, so we'll get to so we're still in the introduction. 7 on March 30th, 2022, the Federal Bureau of Investigations FBI opened a criminal investigation into the unlawful retention of classified documents at the Mar-a-Lago club. A federal grand jury investigation began the next month. The grand jury issued a subpoena requiring Trump to turn over all documents with classification markings. Trump endeavored to obstruct the FBI and grand jury investigations and conceal his continued retention of classified documents by, among other things, A. Suggesting that his attorney falsely represent to the FBI and grand jury that Trump did not have the documents called for by the grand jury subpoena. So, it's already bad. Like, he instructing his lawyer to lie to the court. B. Directing defendant Waltine Nauta. I've heard it a couple of ways. We'll say Nauta. Uh, to move boxes of documents to conceal them from Trump's attorney, the FBI, and the grand jury. Oh, interesting. Hiding it from the attorney also. I guess kind of an implication of understanding their guilt. Hiding it from your attorney because you know the attorney can't lie about stuff like that. Or maybe they can. I don't actually know. It's weird that they're hiding for the attorney. Suggesting that his attorney hide or destroy documents called for by the grand jury subpoena. D. Providing to the FBI and grand jury just some of the documents called for by the grand jury subpoena while claiming he was cooperating fully, and causing a certification to be submitted to the FBI and grand jury falsely representing that all documents called for by the grand jury subpoena had been produced while knowing that, in fact, not all such documents had been produced. This is, again, like, if someone was in my chat on Friday, I hope they're seeking help instead of being here today, but just in case they are, this is the kind of thing where, like, you should look at this and be like, well, why is he doing any of this? He knows he's not allowed to have it. He knows, and he's hiding these things that he's not allowed to have. If he was allowed to have it, why was he hiding it? Why was he pretending he didn't have it? Why was he not? Why was he acting like he had submitted everything he was required to? So on and so forth. 8. As a result of Trump's retention of classified documents after his presidency and refusal to return them, hundreds of classified documents were not recovered by the United States until 2022 as follows. On January 17th, nearly 1 year after Trump left office, after months of demands by the National Archives and Records Administration for Trump to provide all missing presidential records, Trump provided only 15 boxes which contained 197 documents with classification markings. So, well, that should speak for itself. On June 3rd, in response to a grand jury subpoena demanding the production of all documents with classification markings, Trump's attorneys provided to the FBI 38 more documents with classification markings. On August 8th, pursuant to a court-authorized search warrant, the FBI recovered from Trump's office and storage room at the Mar-a-Lago club 102 more documents with classification markings. Notice this speaks back to the piecemeal way that he was handing over these documents he was not allowed to have. Trump's co-conspirator. Okay. Oh, okay. So it's not all. This isn't all the introductions. Just okay. Separated apart. I was confused about like the heading, but then not resetting the numbers. It's just numbers 1 through 8 might pertain to the introduction, but then the next part pertains. Okay. It's not really important. I just want to understand the breakdown here. Trump's co-conspirator. Defendant Nauta was a member of the United States Navy stationed as a valet in the White House during Trump's presidency. Beginning in August 2021, Nauta became an executive assistant in the office of Donald J. Trump and served as Trump's personal aide or body man. Nauta reported to Trump, worked closely with Trump, and traveled with Trump. Just a moment, just a lot of reading. Gotta wet my whistle, as it were. The Mar-a-Lago Club. The Mar-a-Lago Club was located on South Ocean Boulevard in Palm Beach, Florida, and included Trump's residence, more than 25 guest rooms, 2 ballrooms, a spa, a gift store, an exercise facilities, office space, and an outdoor pool and patio. As of January 2021, the Mar-a-Lago Club had hundreds of members and was staffed by more than 150 full-time, part-time, and temporary employees. Yeah, so just as a reminder, while it is his home, Trump's residence, it is by no means exclusively a residence. I'm trying to find what I'm looking for. Maybe this is what I want. The layout. Yeah, this is a pretty good. Can we see this? Yeah, we can see this. Cool. Uh, there's a lot going on at this place. It is not exclusively his home. There are parts of it you can look into this map in a on your own. I'm not going to go to it too much into it. There are parts that are his private residence, but much of this is a resort people go to and are at all the time. This isn't just his house. And so it's bad enough that they were at his house, but also all these random people were 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 prancing about, 11. Between January 2021 and August 2022, the Mar-a-Lago Club hosted more than 150 social events, including weddings, movie premieres, and fundraisers that together drew tens of thousands of guests. The reason why it's important to point this out is to understand how unsafe these documents were. Bad enough that he had them, bad enough that he wasn't allowed to have them, didn't return them, was showing them to people, but also they could have been stumbled upon by any of these people, not not just the not just the guests, but also the people working there, as mentioned above. 12. The United States Secret Service. The Secret Service provided protection services to Trump and his family after he left office, including at the Mar-a-Lago Club, but it was not responsible for the protection of Trump's boxes or their contents. Trump did not inform the Secret Service that he was storing boxes containing classified documents at the Mar-a-Lago Club. This both exonerates the Secret Service, but also makes clear that, he was hiding this information from agents of the state. As much as the Secret Service is there as protection, you have to remember they don't work for who they're protecting. They work for the United States government, and towards the end of protecting someone that it is in the U.S. government's best interest to protect. So understanding this and they were unaware again shows like he's trying to hide this kind of thing. Why is he doing that if not because he was aware he wasn't allowed to be doing this? Classified information. National security information was information owned by, produced for, and under the control of the United States government. Pursuant to this is the kind of thing like juries need to understand what's going on. So just context. Pursuant to Executive Order 12958, signed on April 17th, 1995, as amended by Executive Order, whatever, I'm not going to read the numbers, on March 25th, 2003, and Executive Order on December 29th, 2009, national security information was classified as top secret, secret, or confidential as follows. So now, if in case anyone's unfamiliar, myself included, we'll have a breakdown of what these terms mean. They don't just all mean the same thing. They have specific meanings and levels of security required to access. People were telling me that this tea I had it was good sweetness. Even I want to have it a little less sweet, which is surprising because I like sweet things. Information was classified as top secret if the unauthorized disclosure of that information reasonably could be expected to cause exceptionally grave damage to the national security that the original classification authority was able to identify or describe. This is all going to be very subjective, but obviously we want a breakdown of some sort, even if you can't draw a very clear line of where these things should be separate. Just go understand that as we continue with it. Information was classified secret if the unauthorized disclosure of that information reasonably could be expected to cause serious damage to the national security that the original classification authority was able to identify or describe, right? As opposed to exceptionally grave versus serious. It's fuzzy, but the understanding of like secret information is probably less important to protect than top secret, but still important. That should just be the understanding. And same thing with confidential. Information was classified as confidential if the unauthorized disclosure of that information reasonably could be expected to cause damage to the national security that the original classification authority was able to describe or identify. This is kind of putting me through my paces of like how it used to be reading off debate cases. I feel the same way of like just trusting that my diction can keep up, and so far I've been pleasantly surprised. For the most part, I've been able to do it. I know this is off topic, but we're going through 50 pages of this stuff, so taking breaks from this very dense and important sounding stuff, even to talk about random stuff. You know what? I don't have to justify myself. You watch me, all right? 14. The classification marking non-foreign or no foreign, I don't know what that stood for, not releasable to foreign nationals, and denoted that dissemination of that information was limited to United States persons. Classified information related to to intelligence sources, methods, and analytical processes was designated as sensitive compartmented information (SCI). SCI was to be processed, stored, used, or discussed in an accredited sensitive compartmented information facility (SCIF) or SCIF, and only individuals with the appropriate security clearing and additional SCI permissions were authorized to have such national security information. This is going to be pretty dry as we go through this section, and I understand that, but it's important to understand what the distinctions are between and what the rules are for this uh, confidential information. I don't know how else to put it because confidential has its own terminology. I guess secret information, class, classified. Okay, classified information. There we go. When the vulnerability 16, when the vulnerability of or threat to specific classified information was exceptional and the normal criteria for determining eligibility for access to classified information were insufficient to protect the information from unauthorized disclosure, the United States could establish special access programs, SAPs, to further protect the classified information. The number of these programs was to be kept to an absolute minimum and limited to programs in which the number of persons who ordinarily would have access would be reasonably small and commensurate with the objective of providing enhanced protection for the information involved. Only individuals with the appropriate security clearance and additional SAP permissions were authorized to have access to such national security information, which was subject to enhanced handling and storage requirements. Just more information about the classified stuff. Okay. Pursuant to Executive Order number, information classified at any level could be lawfully accessed only by persons determined by an appropriate United States government official to be eligible for access to classified information, who had signed an approved non-disclosure agreement, who received security clearance, who had a need to know and who had a need to know the classified information. Oh, that's a weird way of putting it. After his presidency, Trump was not authorized to possess or retain classified documents. So this is just a brief explanation of security clearance, right? And I'm sure a lot more goes into all of this stuff. You have to imagine there's a ton of processes for this. 18. Executive Order number provided that a former president could obtain a waiver of the need to know requirement if the agency head or senior agency official of the agency that originated the classified information, 1, determined in writing that access was consistent with the interests of national security, and 2, took appropriate steps to protect classified information from unauthorized disclosure or compromise and ensured that the information was safeguarded in a manner consistent with the order. Trump did not obtain any such waiver after his presidency. It's kind of interesting, like how much detail. Yeah, he didn't do this. That's important to know, but like he didn't do it. So like it almost doesn't. It's like this. This was an. I guess it's most important to know that there was an avenue available for him to have been allowed to do this. He didn't do it. Kind of like shutting doors before the defense tries to open them. It seems like. And of course being thorough. The executive branch departments and agencies whose classified documents Trump retained after his presidency. As a part of his official duties as president, Trump received intelligence briefings from high-level United States government officials, including briefings from the director of Central Intelligence Agency, that's the CIA, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, senior White House officials, and a designated briefer. He regularly received a collection of classified intelligence from the United States Intelligence Community, USIC, known as the President's Daily Brief. The USIC's missions was to collect, analyze, and deliver foreign intelligence and counterintelligence information to America's leaders, including the president, policymakers, law enforcement, and the military, so they could make sound decisions to protect the United States. The USIC consisted of the United States executive branch departments and agencies responsible for the conduct of foreign relations and the protection of national security. After his presidency, Trump retained classified documents originated by or implicating the equities of multiple USIC members and other executive branch departments and agencies, including the following. Oh, that's a lot. That's a lot of departments. Okay, it's just to G, I guess. The Central Intelligence Agency, CIA. CIA was responsible for providing intelligence on foreign countries and global issues to the president and other policymakers to help them make national security decisions. The Department of Defense, DoD. DoD was responsible for providing the military forces needed to deter war and ensure national security. Some of the executive branch agencies comprising the USIC were within DoD. It's interesting they don't call it the DoD. I would call it like it's good we call it the CIA, the DoD, right? The Department of Defense. It's interesting that it's abbreviated. I guess they did that with the CIA, right? It's just odd, odd to me. C, the National Security Agency, the National Security, but they didn't shorten NSA. The NSA was a combat support agency within the DoD and a member of the USIC, responsible for foreign signals intelligence and cybersecurity. This included collecting, processing, and disseminating to the United States policymakers and military leaders foreign intelligence derived from communications and information systems, protecting national security systems, and enabling computer network operations. As we're getting through this, you might be wondering, like, why is it important to break down where this information is from? Partly to understand the import, partly to know specifically what was like which agencies to look for as far as where I'm having a hard time formulating that thought, so I'm just going to move past it. But it's also important to know the severity, and without, and it's also, but while that is important, like the court should not be made aware of the contents of these classified documents, right? There's a reason they're classified. They shouldn't be made public. So this is another way of accessing that. That's probably not why it's here, but is for our purposes useful to know for that reason. The National Geospatial Intelligence Agency. The National Geospatial Intelligence Agency was a combat support agency within DoD responsible for the exploitation and analysis of imagery intelligence, and geospatial information in support of the national security objectives of the United States and the geospatial intelligence requirements of DoD, the Department of State, and other federal agencies. Read satellite imaging. The National Reconnaissance Office. The National Reconnaissance Office was an agency within the DoD responsible for developing, acquiring, launching, and operating space-based surveillance and reconnaissance systems that collected and delivered intelligence to enhance national security. I'm mistaken. Maybe both are satellite imagery, but this seems more clearly satellite surveillance. Maybe there's other kinds of imagery that the Geospatial Intelligence Agency handled. Oh, maybe things like radar and whatever else. Whatever other imaging technology that the military uses. Maybe. I'm not really sure. The Department of Energy. The Department of Energy was responsible for maintaining safe, secure, and effective nuclear deterrent to protect national security, including ensuring effectiveness of the United States nuclear weapons stockpile without nuclear explosive testing. Oh, yeah, that seems important. Yeah, nukes are a big deal. Now, some people might. I've heard people speculative like, oh, maybe like the nuclear launch codes were in this thing. Something to remember: nuclear launch codes are changed constantly. It's like it's bad if like the current ones get acquired, but there's a lot more security to it than one guy knows the number and that number never changes and you just like call a hotline and we go one nuclear strike please, here's my confirmation code. It's not how it works. So it's bad, but it's I hope not the kind of information that could lead to uh, antagonistic agents having access to our nuclear arsenal. That seems unlikely to me. Or I shouldn't say access, but like access to using it. It's possible that maybe like missile silo locations were in here. I don't know. I'm just speculating as far as how bad it could be, but don't be like, oh, he gave away nuclear launch codes. Like, no, don't worry about that. That seems way less likely to me. Still really bad though. The Department of State and Bureau of Intelligence and Research. The Department of State was responsible for protecting and promoting United States security, prosperity, and democratic values. Within the Department of State, the Bureau of Intelligence Research was a member of the USIC and responsible for providing intelligence to inform diplomacy and support United States diplomats. Trump's public statements on classified information. So this is the part I wanted to get to, and honestly, I would have been okay skipping to here, but because of how things were broken down, I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to find it necessarily in 50 pages. Now that we're here, it seems pretty clear, and as I understand it, we're going to get like through to the end. If I remember, if from what I've seen, I think the rest of this document, the remainder of these 40 pages, oh maybe not. What is all this? Oh, okay. So for about 20 pages is going to be evidence that Trump was doing what he wasn't supposed to be doing. All right. Trump's public statements on classified information. As a candidate for president of the United States, Trump made the following public statements, among others, about classified information. On August 8th, 2016, Trump stated, "In my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information. No one will be above the law." It's kind of weird that this is in here, but okay. On September 6, 2016, Trump stated, "We also need to fight this battle by collecting intelligence, then protecting our classified secrets. We can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand the meaning of the word confidential or classified." This is what I mean about like reading Trump's speeches by transcript. You have to take a second to be like, wait, what is he saying? Because it's weird how his sentences are constructed. But the point is he's previously been he claimed to be big on this, but obviously he wasn't because perpetually he is perpetually lying. On September 7th, 2016, Trump stated, "One of the first things we must do is enforce all classification rules to enforce all laws relating to the handling of classified information." As a reminder, this is likely all in reference to the thing with Hillary Clinton having her private email server, and there was the kerfuffle like, oh, she had classified information in there, and from what I understand, that was not the case, thankfully. But if I remember, this is why he cared, is because his political opponent was supposed to have been breaking these rules. This is how he tends to be, and a lot of people, a lot of really dishonest actors, usually on the right, but not exclusively, will care about an issue is only if their political opposition is doing it, but not otherwise. And we saw that a little bit, in fact, with the impeachment. That's one of my complaints about the Democrats, was that they were unwilling to file articles of impeachment for some of the most heinous of Trump's actions because they didn't want to be charged in the same way. They didn't want to be impeached for the same kinds of things. On September 19, 2016, Trump stated, "We also need the best protection of classified information." On November 3rd, 2016, Trump stated, "Service members here in North Carolina have risked their lives to acquire classified intelligence to protect our country." As President of the United States, on July 26, 2018, Trump issued the following statement about classified information. Okay, this is going to be kind of long. "As head of the executive branch and commander-in-chief, I have a unique constitutional responsibility to protect the nation's classified information, including by controlling access to it. More broadly, the issue of former executive branch officials, security clearance raises..." Oh, okay, this is... anytime you see brackets, just know it's like... in case you haven't seen it before, or are unfamiliar with how it's used, it's replacing some other piece of information with what's in the brackets as more clear. So he's probably talking about a specific person. And that person isn't like super relevant other than their role here. So more broadly, the issue of a former executive branch official's security clearance raises larger questions about the practice of former officials maintaining access to our nation's most sensitive secrets long after their time in government has ended. Such access is particularly inappropriate when former officials have transitioned into highly partisan positions and seek to use real or perceived access to sensitive information to validate their political attacks. Any access granted to our nation's secrets should be in furtherance of national, not personal interests." It's funny because this is all very true, and I'm surprised like Trump supporters don't don't say things to the effect of like, "Oh, clearly he's against the thing he's being accused of, so why would he do it?" But obviously he doesn't actually care. It's just because it's a political opponent. Trump's retention of classified documents after his presidency. Okay, for like the next 17 pages, we're just gonna get a bunch of evidence. In January 2021, as he was preparing to leave the White House, Trump and his White House staff, including Nauta, packed items, including some of Trump's boxes. Trump was personally involved in this process. Trump caused his boxes containing hundreds of classified documents to be transported to the White House to the Mar-a-Lago club. Uh, as they were packing, it seems like they were packing a lot of stuff. Again, we're still at a moment here where it's reasonable to think that he might not have intentionally been doing this. But as we've already started to see, and we will see more going forward through the evidence, he knew what he was doing, and he knew he wasn't allowed to be doing it. Sorry, I'm just looking down because I'm pouring myself some more iced tea. I've got my pitcher beside me here. I want to top myself up. All right. From January through March 15th, 2021, some of Trump's boxes were stored in the Mar-a-Lago's white and gold ballroom, in which events and gatherings took place. Trump's boxes were for a time stacked on the ballroom stage, as depicted in the photograph below, redacted to obscure an individual's identity. It's also going to be hard because these are all, you know, modified images. The picture looks a lot like this, but obviously it was taken in color and not with this like stark black and white. It's taken in color and then printed in black and white on the page. So it's going to be a little bit, I'm guessing you've seen these pictures. They were all over the news, and I think we covered it on stream last week, or maybe before that. But yeah, we see all these boxes on the stage here. And it's on the stage because remember, this isn't a storage facility. This is a ballroom, and by ballroom, it's not his private ballroom that only he goes to. It's for this club. People maybe weren't in here at any time when the boxes were, but it's a place where people are expected to be in and out of. People who do not have classified, do not have security clearance of any kind. And we're still like could be antagonistic agents, for whatever reason, and especially with Trump's proclivity of inviting like Saudis and Russians to, and I mean officials, not just random people, to his resorts. 26. In March 2021, Nauta and others moved some of Trump's boxes from the white and gold ballroom to the business center at the Mar-a-Lago Club. On April 5th, 2021, an employee of the office of Donald J. Trump, Trump Employee 1, texted another employee of that office, Trump Employee 2, to ask whether Trump's boxes could be moved out of the business center to make room for staff to use it as an office. Trump Employee 2 said, "Whoa, okay, so POTUS specifically asked Walt for those boxes to be in the business center because they are his papers." Later that day, Trump Employee 1, Trump Employee 2 exchanged the following text messages. Trump Employee 2, "We can definitely make it work if we move his papers into the lake room." Trump Employee 1, "There is still a little room in the shower where his other stuff is. Is it only his papers he cares about? There's some other stuff in there that are not papers. Could that go to storage, or does he want everything there on property?" Trump Employee 2, "Yes, anything that's not the beautiful mine paper boxes can definitely go to storage. Want to take a look at the space and start moving them tomorrow a.m. Oh, hey, Amazon can. As a note here, this implies to me, like maybe I'm misreading what the events are, but it seems like these employees were looking in these boxes to see what was in them. It didn't seem like they were just like marked like, "Hey, absolutely do not look in these," which means random employees had access to this classified information. It's pretty bad. And they're storing him in a shower. Like, okay, that's just silly. As much as he was complaining about like, oh, they dumped him out on the floor, like I would keep them on the floor. Like, okay, no one was really talking about that. But now that we are, you kept him in a shower, dude. Like, you kept him in a bathroom. And it's a good time for you to pop in, Amazon King. We're now getting into the evidence. Before this was a lot of like groundwork. After the text exchange between Trump Employee 1 and Trump Employee 2 in April 2021, some of Trump's boxes were moved from the business center to a bathroom and shower in the Mar-a-Lago Club's lake room, as depicted in the photograph below. Yep. Again, it's just gonna be hard to see, but like you can see in the back behind the chandelier in the bathroom, the curtain for the shower, and all these boxes piled up. I believe on the left side is where there's like you can see a toilet in the frame. We've seen these pictures previously, and you can look them up on your own. I don't want to go find them. In May 2021, Trump directed that a storage room on the ground floor of the Mar-a-Lago Club The storage room can be cleaned out so it can be used to store his boxes. So it's just a storage room, not like this isn't private areas necessarily. It's just a storage room. I guess the storage room is more private than a bathroom, but still. The hallway leading to the storage room could be reached from multiple outside entrances, including one accessible from the Mar-a-Lago Club pool patio through a doorway that was often kept open. The storage room was near the liquor supply closet, linen room, lock shop, and various other rooms. Yeah, that's what I thought. It's not like a particularly protected location. It's just a room in his club. On June 24th, 2021, Trump's boxes that were in the lake room were moved to the storage room. After the move, there were more than 80 boxes in the storage room, as depicted in the photographs below. So you can see this huge wall of boxes on the left side there. I don't know what this other stuff is. I've seen these pictures before, and I don't want to go find the color versions. But yeah, tons and tons of boxes in these rooms. If I remember right, this is against a wall with like the light is hanging up down. That's what you see in the top there. On December 7th, 2021, Nauta found several of Trump's boxes fallen and their contents spilled onto the floor of the storage room, including a document marked secret slash REL to USA FVEY. I don't know what that means. Which denoted, oh, okay, it's explained. Which denoted that the information in the document was releasable only to the Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance, consisting of Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, and the United States. Nauta texted Trump employee 2, "I opened the door and found this." Oh, did he? He took a picture. Okay, we'll get to that. Nauta also attached 2 photographs he took of the spill. Trump employee 2 replied, "Oh no, and I'm sorry POTUS had my phone." One of the photographs Nauta texted to Trump employee 2 is depicted below with the visible classified information redacted. Trump's unlawful retention of this document is charged in count 8 of this indictment. So, yeah, not only keeping in this place, but like when the contents spill on the floor, Nauta's out here just like, oh, let me take a picture of this classified information and send it to random employee number 2 so that they, who definitely shouldn't be looking at it, have a picture of it. And a picture of it that was, sent on like public, or I shouldn't say public, but like on through servers that are owned by private companies that have access to this stuff. It's like, why are you texting pictures of classified information? Trump's disclosures of classified information in private meetings. In May 2021, Trump caused some of his boxes to be brought to his summer residence at the Bedminster Club. By the way, the fact that a lot of this stuff was at the Bedminster Club makes that speech he gave there feel a lot more odious. Like, yeah, I'm giving a speech about how I'm innocent at the scene of the crime that I definitely did. Like, okay, that's a if I did it moment. Like the Mar-a-Lago Club, after Trump's presidency, the Bedminster Club was not an authorized location for the storage, possession, review, display, or discussion of classified documents. Yeah, no shit. On July 21st, 2021, when he was no longer president, Trump gave an interview at his office at the Bedminster Club to a writer and a publisher in connection with the then forthcoming book. 2 members of Trump's staff also attended the interview, which was recorded with Trump's knowledge and consent. Before the interview, the media had published reports that at the end of Trump's term as president, the senior military official, purportedly feared that Trump might order an attack on country A, and that the senior military official advised Trump against doing so. Upon greeting the writer, publisher, and his 2 staff members, Trump stated, "Look what I found. This was the senior military official's plan of attack. Read it and just show it's interesting." So he's showing the plan of attack. Okay. Later in the interview, Trump engaged in the following exchange. Trump: "Well, with senior military official, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack country A. Isn't that amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. I have a big pile, the biggest pile. Look, this was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him. Again, look at this speech. It's incoherent. Writer, wow, Trump. We looked at some. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All of this stuff. It's literally like 4-year-old writing sentences. Uh, all sorts of stuff. Pages long. Look. Hmm. Staffer. Hmm. Trump. Wait a minute. Let's see here. Staffer. Yeah. So like very clear. He's just showing classified information around the room. Like, look at it. Trump. I just found. Isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know. Staffer. Mm-hmm. Trump. Except it is like highly confidential. So not just is he doing it, he's clearly aware. Like, oh, this is highly confidential. Look at it. Look at the thing. The staffer. I mean, everyone in the room has to just be like, uh-oh. Staffer, yeah, ha ha ha. Trump, secret. This is secret information. Look at this. You attack and this seems. I don't know if this is just redacted, but we have a time skip. Trump, by the way, isn't that incredible? Staffer, yeah. Trump, I was just thinking because we were talking about it, and he said he wanted to attack country A, and what? Staffer, you did. So he was right. Trump, this was done by the military and given to me. I think we can probably, right? Staffer, I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to Trump declassify it. Staffer, figure out a yeah. Like he's trying. This staffer seems like he's trying so hard to stop Trump from breaking the law and doing doing crimes. And he's just like, no, I'm gonna say outright, yeah, we have to declassify it, but we didn't. Trump, see, as president, I could have declassified it. Staffer, yeah, ha ha ha. Trump, yeah, now I can't, but this is still a secret. Staffer, yeah, now we have a problem. Trump, isn't that interesting? So yeah, just like I don't have I'm not allowed to have this, but here, look at the thing. I could have declassified it, didn't do it though. God damn. At the time of this exchange, the writer, the publisher, and Trump's 2 staff members did not have security clearances or any need to know any classified information about a plan of attack on Country A. In August or September 2021, when he was no longer president, Trump met in his office at the Bedminster Club with a representative of his Political Action Committee, the PAC representative. During the meeting, Trump commented on an ongoing military operation in Country B was not going well. Trump showed the PAC representative a classified map of Country B and told the PAC representative he should not be showing the map to the PAC representative and not to get too close. This comes up a lot. I feel like Trump was like, yeah, if you can't read it, it's fine for me to show it to you. So just don't be close enough to read it. And I don't think that's how that works. I'm not a legal expert. I suspect that's not how that works. The PAC representative did not have a security clearance or any need to know classified information about the military operation. Yeah, no shit. On February 16th, 2027, 4 years before Trump's disclosures of classified information set forth above, Trump said at a press conference, "The first thing I thought of when I heard about it is, how does the press get this information that's classified?" That's a great question. How do they get it? How do they do it? You know why? Because it's an illegal process, and the press should be ashamed of themselves. But more importantly, the people that gave out the information to the press, should be ashamed of themselves. Really ashamed. Oh, just even even the even the DOJ can't resist the urge to dunk on this moron for being like, "Hey, remember how you said the thing?" Trump's production of 15 cardboard boxes to the National Archives and Records Administration. Beginning in May 2021, the National Archives and Records Administration, NARA, which was responsible for archiving presidential records, repeatedly demanded that Trump turn over the presidential records that he had kept after his presidency. On multiple occasions, beginning in June, NARA warned Trump that through his representatives, that if he did not comply, it would refer the matter of the missing records to the Department of Justice. So he knew this was coming down the pike because he knew he was being asked for this stuff and he knew he had it anyway. So as a reminder, so when he like cries about like, oh, this unprecedented raid that was a surprise, he knew that things were escalating because of his actions. All right, don't let him like whine to you about it. Before, between November 2021 and January 2022, Nauta and Trump employee 2 at Trump's direction brought boxes from the storage room to Trump's residence for Trump to review. So again, this could, as we'll see, it's not, but like you could read this as like, oh, he's trying to find what stuff he's not allowed to have to return it. Well, we'll see. On November 12th, 2021, Trump employee 2 provided Trump a photograph of his boxes in the storage room by taping it to one of the boxes that Trump employee 2 had placed in Trump's residence. Uh, Weird. Uh, Trump employee 2 provided Trump the photograph so that Trump could see how many of his boxes were stored in the storage room. The photograph, shown below, depicted a wall of the storage room against which dozens of Trump's boxes were stacked. Displayed here. It's like a picture book. They got pictures and everything. It's like, it's reading like as a kid. You got pictures. On November 17th, 2021, Nauta texted Trump employee 2 about the photograph Trump employee 2 had provided to Trump, stating he mentioned about a picture of the boxes. He wants me to see it. Trump employee 2 replied, calling you shortly. I wonder if this employee is like, if it's in text, they'll have records of the crimes he's doing. I mean, obviously, it could be any number of things. Could just be easier to speak over call. I just can't help but speculate, given all the shenanigans that are going on. On November 25th, 2021, Trump employee 2 texted Nauta about Trump's review of the contents of his boxes, asking, has he mentioned boxes to you? I delivered some, but I think he may need more. Could you ask if he'd like more in Pine Hall? Pine Hall was an entry room in Trump's residence. Nauta replied in 3 successive text messages, nothing about boxes yet. He has one he's working on in Pine Hall, knocked out 2 boxes yesterday. On November 29th, 2021, Trump employee 2 texted Nauta asking, next, you are on property, no rush. Could you help me bring four more boxes up? Nauta replied, yes, of course. On December 29th, 2021, Trump employee 2 texted a Trump representative who was in contact with Nara, Trump representative 1, box answer will be wrenched out of him today, promise. The next day, Trump Representative 1 replied in 2 successive text messages, hey, just checking on boxes, would love to have a number to them today. So now, at this point, it seems like they are behind when they are supposed to be getting their boxes in. Now they're just like, hey, at least if we give them a number of boxes, like how many that we have, that would help, just trying to mitigate, I think. It's a little hard to tell what the point of this section is, so I'm guessing a little bit. Trump employee 2 spoke to Trump and then responded a few hours later in 2 successive text messages. 12 is his number. On January 13th, 2020. So apparently that's the number of boxes they're telling Nara that they have. But this is just one of the stacks of boxes. They know they have dozens. Now, obviously, not all of this is necessarily classified, but like a lot of it is. And this isn't the totality of the boxes, right? 12 is pretty clearly hiding stuff, which had been alleged earlier in this indictment. Yeah, for real, just a ton of evidence. There's so much. We're barely into it. We're here on page 19. There's so much, but I know a lot of it. There's some amount of it that's like, this is just like a list of documents. It seems like, which just it's quite the page filler. But yeah, there's a ton to go through. Okay, on January 13th, 2022, Nauta texted Trump employee 2 about Trump's tracking of boxes, stating he's tracking the boxes. I don't know, tracking? Are they like, is he on the hunt? Is he following in the wild and watching their like drag marks in the snow? They're in his storage room. What do you mean tracking? More to follow today on whether he wants to go through more today or tomorrow. Trump employee 2 replied, thank you. On January 15th, 2022, Nauta sent Trump employee 2 4 successive text messages. One thing he asked was for new covers for the boxes Monday Monday morning. I love how he oh, this is now to mind. I was like, is this Trump? Is he texting like he talks? Can we get new box covers before giving these to them on Monday? They have too much writing on them. I marked too much. Trump employee 2 replied, yes, I will get that. On January 17th, 2022, Trump employee 2 and Nauta gathered 15 boxes from Trump's residence, loaded the boxes in Nauta's car, and took them to a commercial truck for delivery to Nara. So 15 boxes were handed over, but we saw how many of these boxes there were. And you might say, like, again, the thought you might have is, well, maybe the rest of it wasn't confidential, but clearly, or should classified, excuse me, clearly, as we'll see, that's not the case. When interviewed by the FBI in May 2022 regarding the location and movement of boxes before the production to Nara, Nauta made false and misleading statements as set forth in count 38 of this indictment, including falsely stating that he was not aware of Trump's boxes being brought to Trump's residence for his review before Trump provided 15 boxes to Nara in January 2022. And we've seen the evidence for that already. Falsely stating that he did not know how the boxes that he and Trump employee 2 brought from Trump's residence to the commercial truck for delivery to Nara on January 17, 2022 had gotten to the residence, but he clearly did. When asking whether he knew whether Trump's boxes had been stored whether he knew where they had been stored before they were in Trump's residence and whether they had been in a secure or locked location, Nauta falsely responded, I wish I could tell you. I don't know. I don't. Honestly, I just don't know. But we already know that he was sending pictures of this stuff being stored inappropriately. So we know he was lying about all this stuff. And that's why they can say he's falsely stated. When the 15 boxes that Trump had provided reached Nara in January 2022, Nara reviewed the contents and determined that 14 of the boxes contained documents with classification markings. Specifically, as the FBI later determined, the boxes contained 197 documents with classification markings, of which 98 were marked secret, 30 were marked top secret, and the remainder were marked confidential. Some of those documents also contained SCI and SAP markings. On February 9th, 2022, NARA referred the discovery of classified documents in Trump's boxes to the Department of Justice for investigation. The FBI and grand jury investigations. On March 30th, 2022, the FBI opened a criminal... Okay, so they opened investigations. Cool. We don't need to read all that out loud. The defendant's concealment of boxes. On May 11th, 2022, the grand jury issued a subpoena... The May 11th subpoena to the office of Donald J. Trump requiring the production of all documents with classification markings in the possession, custody, or control of Trump or the office of Donald J. Trump. Two attorneys representing Trump, Trump Attorney 1 and Trump Attorney 2, informed Trump of the May 11th subpoena, and he authorized Trump Attorney 1 to accept the service. The word Trump, the name Trump is so many times in that paragraph. It was throwing me off. But yes, okay. They issued a subpoena. On May 22nd, 2022, Nauta entered the storage room at 3:47 p.m. and left approximately 34 minutes later, carrying one of Trump's boxes. It's probably from surveillance cameras or something like that they know this is an oddly specific time. But I love when they're like approximately 34 minutes later. Like it's a kind of specific number of minutes, but of course it's it could be 34 minutes and 15 seconds or 33 minutes and 48 seconds, whatever. On May 23rd, 2022, Trump met with Trump Attorney 1 and Trump Attorney 2 at the Mar-a-Lago Club to discuss the response to the May 11th subpoena. Trump Attorney 1 and Trump Attorney 2 told Trump that they needed to search for documents that would be responsive to the subpoena and provide a certification that there had been a compliance with the subpoena. Trump, in sum and substance, made the following statements, among others, as memorialized by Trump Attorney 1. I don't want anybody looking. I don't want anybody looking in my box through my boxes. I really don't. I don't want you looking through my boxes. Well, what happens if we just don't respond at all or don't play ball with them? Wouldn't it be better if we just told them we don't have anything here? Well, look, isn't it better if there are no documents? So already I get that this is a subpoena, but nah. That's generally his response. how do we cover it up? How do we like lie and seal these documents? While meeting with Trump Attorney 1 and Trump Attorney 2 on May 23rd, Trump, in sum and substance, told the following story as memorialized by Trump Attorney 1. Um, well, you say he's shocked he was able to get a lawyer. I mean, this was before everything went down, and he's got like I'm sure many lawyers, uh, including at some point Rudy Giuliani. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, as it turns out, when you have money, people will work for you. It's kind of a thing. Attorney, he was great. He did a great job. You know what? He said that it was him. It's so nonsensical. He's he said that he was the one who deleted all of her emails, the 30,000 emails, because they basically dealt with her scheduling and her going to the gym and her having beauty appointments. And he was great, and so she didn't get in any trouble because he said that he was the one who deleted them. Um, okay, so he's saying like, oh well, the Trump deleted all those emails and protected Hillary, kind of implying, couldn't you do something of the same? I think that's what's happening there. Trump related the story once, more than once that day. Ooh. On May 23rd, Trump also confirmed his understanding with Trump Attorney 1 that Trump Attorney 1 would return to the Mar-a-Lago Club on June 2nd to search for any documents with classification markings to produce in response to the May 11th subpoena. Uh, okay. Trump Attorney 1 made it clear to Trump that Trump Attorney 1 would conduct the search for responsive documents by looking through Trump's boxes that had been transported from the White House and remained in storage at the Mar-a-Lago Club. Trump indicated that he wanted to be at the Mar-a-Lago Club when Trump Attorney 1 returned to review his boxes on June 2nd, and that Trump would change his summer travel plans to do so. Trump told Trump Attorney 2 that Trump Attorney 2 did not need to be present for the review of boxes. This is kind of interesting. It seems like it's interesting that he's unwilling to allow even his lawyers to go through this. Like he knows that maybe they have a legal responsibility as lawyers that would be contrary to his interests. Perhaps, maybe. Stranger things have happened. After meeting with Trump Attorney 1 and Trump Attorney 2 on May 23rd, Trump delayed his departure from the Mar-a-Lago Club to the Bedminster Club for the summer so that he would be present at the Mar-a-Lago Club on June 2nd when Trump Attorney 1 returned to review the boxes. Between Trump's May 23rd meeting with Trump Attorney 1 and Trump Attorney 2 to discuss the May 11th subpoena and June 2nd, when Trump Attorney 1 returned to the Mar-a-Lago Club to review the boxes in the storage room, Nauta removed, at Trump's direction, a total of approximately 64 boxes from the storage room and brought them to Trump's residence as set forth below. So, yeah, even like uh, sneaking these out from the view of his attorneys who are trying to comply with the subpoena to hide these documents. On May 24th, 2022, between 5:30 and 5:38 p.m., Nauta removed 3 boxes from the storage room. On May 30th, 2022, at 9:08 a.m., Trump and Nauta spoke by phone for approximately 30 seconds between 9:02 a.m. and 11:51 a.m. Nauta removed a total of approximately 50 boxes from the storage room. On May 30th, 2022, at 12:33 p.m., a Trump family member texted Nauta, "Good afternoon, Walt." Oh no, they did the like the to whom it may concern in your text, the greeting or whatever. Yeah, it's fine. Good morning, good afternoon, Walt. Happy Memorial Day. I saw you put boxes to POTUS room. Just FYI, and I will tell him as well. Not sure how many he wants to take on Friday on the plane. We will not have room for them. Plane will be full with luggage. Thank you. Nauta replied. Good afternoon, ma'am. Smiley face emoji. Thank you so much. I think he wanted to pick from them. I don't imagine him wanting to take the boxes. He told me to put them in the room and that he was going to talk to you about them. On June 1st, 2022, beginning at 12:52 p.m., Nauta removed approximately 11 boxes from the storage room. On June 1st, 2022, Trump spoke with Trump Attorney 1 by phone and asked whether Trump Attorney 1 was coming to the Mar-a-Lago Club the next day for exactly what purpose. Well, you know what the purpose. Trump Attorney 1 reminded Trump that Trump Attorney 1 was going to review the boxes that had been transported from the White House and remained in storage at the Mar-a-Lago Club so that Trump Attorney 1 could have custodian of records have a custodian of records certify that the May 11th subpoena had been complied with fully. But of course, Trump had been hiding this, not unknown to Trump Attorney 1. On June 2nd, 2022, the day that Trump Attorney 1 was scheduled to review Trump's boxes in the storage room, Trump spoke with Nauta on the phone at 9:29 a.m. for approximately 24 seconds. Later that day, between 12:33 p.m. and 12:52 p.m., Nauta and an employee of the Mar-a-Lago Club moved approximately 30 boxes from Trump's residence to the storage room. In sum, between May 23rd, 2022 and June 2nd, 2022, before Trump Attorney 1's review of Trump's boxes in the storage room, Nauta, at Trump's direction, moved approximately 64 boxes from the storage room to Trump's residence and brought to the storage room only approximately 30 boxes. Neither Trump nor Nauta informed Trump Attorney 1 of this information. So, in case it's unclear, he's taking obvious and intentional action to conceal these documents that he knows he's not supposed to have. He knows he needs to submit to a subpoena, and he was unable to convince his lawyers to hide from that subpoena. So, unbeknownst to them, he is hiding them anyway, and hiding them from his attorneys. The false certification to the FBI and the grand jury. On the afternoon of June 2nd, 2022, as Trump had been informed, Trump Attorney 1 invited the Mar-a-Lago Club to review arrived at the Mar-a-Lago Club to review Trump's boxes to look for documents with classification markings in response to the May 11th subpoena. Trump met with Trump Attorney 1 before Trump Attorney 1 conducted the review. Nauta escorted Trump Attorney 1 to the storage room. Between 3:53 p.m. and 6:23 p.m., Trump Attorney 1 reviewed the contents of Trump's boxes in the storage room. Trump Attorney 1 located 38 documents with classification markings inside the boxes, which Trump Attorney 1 removed and placed in a red weld folder. Trump Attorney 1 contacted Nauta and asked him to bring clear duct tape to the storage room, which Nauta did. The Trump Attorney 1 used the clear duct tape to seal the red weld folder with the documents with classification markings inside. So it seems like the attorneys are trying to do what they're supposed to do, despite Trump's best efforts. Though he seems to have fooled them for the most part. Like, they are sealing it. They're trying to, they seem like they're trying. After Trump Attorney 1 finished sealing the red weld folder containing the documents with classification markings that he had found inside Trump's boxes, Nauta took Trump Attorney 1 to a dining room in the Mar-a-Lago Club to meet with Trump. After Trump Attorney 1 confirmed that he was finished with his search of the storage room, Trump asked, "Did you find anything? Is it bad? Good?" Trump and Trump Attorney 1 then discussed what to do with the red weld folder containing documents with classification markings and whether Trump Attorney 1 should bring them to his hotel room and put them in a safe there. During that conversation, Trump made a plucking motion as memorialized by Trump Attorney 1. He made a funny motion, though. Well, okay, why don't you take them with you to your hotel room, and if there's anything really bad in there, like pluck it out. And that was the motion he made. He didn't say that. This is kind of the equivalent of maybe you should find that guy and it's like, okay, you didn't say to kill him, but you didn't say pluck it out, but you made the motion, I guess. I don't know what is it this? I don't know which motion it's supposed to be, but it was a plucking motion. We plucking. He's kind of a plucky guy, you know what I'm saying? I couldn't help with the pun. That evening, Trump Attorney 1 contacted the Department of Justice and requested that an FBI agent meet him at the Mar-a-Lago Club the next day, June 3rd, so he could turn over the documents responsive to the May 11th subpoena. Also that evening, Trump Attorney 1 contacted another Trump Attorney 3, and asked her if she would come to the Mar-a-Lago Club the next morning and act as a custodian of records and sign a certification regarding the search for documents with classification markings in response to the May 11th subpoena. Trump Attorney 3, who had no role in the review of Trump's boxes in the storage room, agreed. I don't know if this seems strange. How could she sign off on that if she was unaware of what went down? Maybe that's what they're trying to get across, but maybe not. But they've noted that she had no role in the review. So The next day, on June 3rd, 2022, at Trump Attorney 1's request, Trump Attorney 3 signed a certification as the custodian of records for the office of Donald J. Trump and took it to the Mar-a-Lago Club to provide it to the Department of Justice and the FBI. In the certification, Trump Attorney 3, who performed no search of Trump's boxes, had not reviewed the May 11th subpoena, and had not reviewed the context of the Redwell folder, stated, among other things, that based upon the information that had been provided to her, a diligent search was conducted of the boxes that were moved from the White House to Florida. This search was conducted after the receipt of the subpoena in order to locate any and all documents that are responsive to the subpoena, and any and all responsive documents accompany this certification. So yeah, okay, that it was a problem. She wasn't involved in that because she's signing up. She's saying like, yeah, I am confirming this, even though she has no idea. I assume that a lot of the other people who are referred to by title, like by their job here, like Trump Attorney 1, Trump Attorney 3, Trump Employee 1, or whatever. I assume that some number of them are facing legal action as well. It's just not going to be as talked about because they're not literally a former president. But I can't imagine that this lawyer just got away with doing that. Maybe she cooperated with the investigation here and like got away in that regard, but it seems like this was not okay for her to do. These statements were false because, among other reasons, Trump had directed Nauta to move boxes before Trump Attorney 1's June 2nd review, so that many of the boxes were not searched and many documents responsive to the May 11th subpoena could not be found, and in fact were not found by Trump Attorney 1. Shortly after Trump Attorney 3 executed the false certification on June 3rd, 2022, Trump Attorney 1 and Trump Attorney 3 met at the Mar-a-Lago Club with personnel from the Department of Justice and FBI. Trump Attorney 1 and Trump Attorney 3 turned over the Redwell folder containing documents with classification markings, as well as the false certification signed by Trump Attorney 3 as custodian of records. Trump, who had delayed his departure from the Mar-a-Lago Club, joined Trump Attorney 1 and Trump Attorney 3 for some of the meeting. Trump claimed to the Department of Justice and the FBI that he was an open book. Again, just like so comfortable with lying. I'm an open book. Totally haven't been hiding stuff. Earlier the same day, Nauta and others loaded several of Trump's boxes along with other items on aircraft that flew Trump and his family north for the summer. Now, I'm an open book. Also, I'm like sneaking these documents out with me. The court authorized search of the Mar-a-Lago Club. In July 2022, the FBI and grand jury obtained and reviewed surveillance video from the Mar-a-Lago Club showing the movement of boxes set forth above. On August 8th, the FBI executed a court-authorized search warrant at the Mar-a-Lago Club. So remember when people were whining about like unreasonable search and seizure? No, they had already reviewed surveillance videos and expected to find what they did, and they did. You know. On August 8th, 2022, they executed the search warrant. The search warrant authorized the FBI to search for and seize, among other things, all documents with classification markings. During the execution of the warrant at the Mar-a-Lago Club, the FBI seized 102 documents with classification markings in Trump's office and in the storage room as follows. So I'm not going to go through all of these, but oh, never mind. This isn't the breakdown. So in Trump's office, they found 27 documents, including this breakdown. In the storage room, they found 75, including with this breakdown. I'm not going to go through that. It's not super relevant. So now we have the counts of the indictment. Counts 1 through 31, willful retention of national defense information. The general allegations of this indictment are realleged and fully incorporated here by reference. In or about the dates set forth on the table below, in Palm Beach County in the Southern District of Florida and elsewhere, the defendant, Donald J. Trump, having unauthorized possession of, access to, and control over documents related to national defense, did willfully retain the documents and failed to deliver them to the officer and employee of the United States entitled to receive them, that is, Trump, without authorization, retained at the Mar-a-Lago Club documents related to the national defense, including the following. So I'm gonna skip through these. I'll let you go through these on your own if you want, but this is just the breakdown of all the documents that he had. It's obviously not going to state the classified information that's in them, but it'll give you an idea of what kind of stuff there is. So like, here's one: top secret, secret handling. Here's when it was dated. It's related to various foreign countries and handling, so on and so forth. So you can go through these if you want, and this is like, okay, it's about 31 of these things. But I'll get so those are the documents related to the 31. Remember, this is for the counts 1 through 31 of the indictment. These are the documents relating to each of those counts. So there are 31 of them. And then we have count 32. The general allegations of this indictment are realleged and fully incorporated here by reference. The conspiracy and its objects. From on or about May 11, 2022 through in or around August 2022 in Palm Beach County in the Southern District of Florida and elsewhere, the defendants Donald J. Trump and Waltine Nauta did knowingly combine, conspire, confederate, and agree with each other and with others known to and unknown to the grand jury to engage in misleading conduct towards another person and corruptly persuade another person to withhold a record, document, and other object from an official proceeding in violation of 18 U.S.C. 152b2a. I don't know if that's the appropriate way to read something like that. I mean, obviously, people who've studied law will know better than I would. And to corruptly conceal a record, document, or other object from official proceeding in violation of another code. The purpose of the conspiracy. The purpose of the conspiracy was for Trump to keep classified documents he had taken with him from the White House and to hide and conceal from them from a federal grand jury. Hide and conceal them from a federal grand jury. The manner and means of the conspiracy. So remember, for conspiracy, like there's extra stuff you have to lay out, not just that it happened, but like what was the purpose, like who was involved, what was the manner, so this is what we're getting the breakdown now. The manner of means by which the defendant sought to accomplish the objects and purpose of the conspiracy included, among other things, suggesting that Trump Attorney 1 falsely represent to the FBI and grand jury that Trump did not have the documents called for by the May 11th subpoena, moving boxes of documents to conceal from Trump Attorney 1, the FBI, and the grand jury, suggesting that Trump Attorney 1 hide or destroy documents called for by the May 11th subpoena, providing to the FBI and grand jury some of the documents called for by the May 11th subpoena while Trump claimed he was cooperating fully, causing a false certification to be submitted to the FBI and grand jury representing that all documents with classification markings had been produced when in fact they had not, and making false and misleading statements to the FBI. All in violation of Title 18 United States Code Section 1512K. All of this seems pretty well substantiated by the evidence above. Obviously, this is without any sort of defense involved, which is so it should seem pretty overwhelming, but it seems pretty clear here, and I don't know what kind of defense you could offer. The one that Trump has offered in his New Jersey speech last week seems to have been, more of an admission than a defense. Count 33, withholding a document or record. The general allegations of this indictment are realleged and fully incorporated here by reference. From on or about May 11th through in or around August 2022. Some of the way this is worded is circuitous. In Palm Beach County, okay, we can. Donald J. Trump and Waltine Nauta did knowingly engage in misleading conduct towards another person and knowingly corruptly persuade and attempt to persuade another person with intent to cause and induce any person to withhold a record, document, and other object from an official proceeding. That is, 1. Trump attempted to persuade Trump Attorney 1 to hide and conceal documents from a federal grand jury, and 2. Trump and Nauta misled Trump Attorney 1 by moving boxes that contained documents with classification markings so that Trump Attorney 1 would not find the documents and produce them to a federal grand jury. All in violation of Title 8. Okay. Count 34, corruptly concealing a document or record. The defendants, I'm going to skip the preamble. It is pretty cool to read the first time, but it's wordy and not worthwhile to read after that. The defendants, Donald J. Trump and Waltine Nauta, did corruptly conceal a record, document, and other object, and attempted to do so with the intent to impair the object's integrity and availability for use in official proceeding. That is, Trump and Nauta hid and concealed boxes that contained documents with classification markings from Trump Attorney 1 so that Trump Attorney 1 would not find the documents and produce them to a federal grand jury. In violation of Count 35. Donald Trump and Walter Nauta did knowingly conceal, cover up, falsify, and make false entry in any record, document, and tangible object with the intent to impede, obstruct, influence the investigation and proper administration of any matter within the jurisdiction of a department and agency of the United States in relation and contemplation of any such matter that is, during a federal criminal investigation being conducted by the FBI, 1. Trump and Nauta hid, concealed, and covered up from the FBI Trump's continued possession of documents with classification markings at the Mar-a-Lago Club, and 2. Trump falsely caused a false certification to be submitted to the FBI. Count 36 schemed to conceal Donald J. Trump and Walter Nauta in a manner within the jurisdiction of the judicial branch and executive branch of the United States government, did knowingly and willfully falsify, conceal, and cover up by any trick, scheme, and device a material fact that is during a federal grand jury investigation and a federal criminal investigation being conducted by the FBI. Trump and Nauta hid and concealed from the grand jury and the FBI Trump's continued possession of documents with classification markings. Count 37. I believe this is the final. No, there's more counts. There's so many counts. I can't even count how many counts there are. False statements and representations. Donald J. Trump, in a manner within the jurisdiction of the judicial branch and executive branch of the United States government, did knowingly and willfully make and cause to be made a material, a false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement and representation. That is, during a federal grand jury investigation and federal criminal investigation being conducted by the FBI, Trump caused the following false statements and representations to be made to the grand jury and the FBI in a sworn certification executed by Trump Attorney 3. A diligent... Oh, we cover these things. These are the things that the Trump Attorney 3 agreed to in their custodian of records actions. The statements and representations set forth above were false, as Trump knew, because Trump had directed the boxes be removed from the storage room before Trump Attorney 1 conducted in June 2nd, 2022, searched for the documents with classification markings, so that Trump Attorney 1 search would not and did not include all of Trump's boxes that were removed from the White House, as evidenced by the fact that they recovered more after the fact, right? Trump Attorney 1 search would not and did not locate all documents responsive to the May 11th subpoena, and all responsive documents were not provided to the FBI and the grand jury with the certification. In fact, after June 3rd, 2022, more than 100 documents with classification markings remained at the Mar-a-Lago Club until the FBI search on August 8th, 2022. Count 38. The general... we can skip... I guess not that much. On May 26, 2022, Nauta... this is false statements and representations. On May 26, 2022, Nauta participated in a voluntary interview with the FBI. During this interview, the FBI explained to Nauta that the FBI was investigating how classified documents had been kept at the Mar-a-Lago Club, and the FBI asked Nauta questions about the location of the movement of Trump's boxes before Trump provided 15 boxes to NARA on January 17, 2022. Nauta was represented by counsel, and the FBI advised Nauta that the interview was voluntary and he could leave at any time. The FBI also advised Nauta that it was a criminal offense to lie to the FBI. The interview was recorded. What's funny, though, is that I know that at the very least local police are allowed to lie to people during interrogation, so it's one of those like, well, if he didn't believe you, that makes sense. That said, he was informed, so. And he had counsel who could advise him. On or about May 26, 2022. Okay, this is some of the preamble. Walter Nauta. What's such a weird name, Walter? Nauta, in a manner within the jurisdiction of the executive branch of the United States government, did knowingly and willfully make materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement and make a materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement and representation. That is, in a voluntary interview during a federal criminal investigation being conducted by the FBI, Nauta was asked the following questions and gave the following false answers. Question: Are you aware of any boxes being brought to his home, his suite? No. All right, so to the best of your knowledge, you're saying that the boxes you brought into your truck, first time you ever laid eyes on them was the day of when Trump Employee 2 needed you to to take them. Okay. In knowing what we were trying to track, in knowing that we're trying to track the life of these boxes and where they could have been kept and stored and all kinds of stuff. Do you have any information that would that could help us understand, like, where they're being kept, how they were being kept, where were they secured, were they locked, something that makes the intelligence community feel better about these things, you know? I wish I could tell you. I don't know. I don't. Honestly, I just don't know. This is a lie. And what? So you only saw 15 boxes, 15, 17 boxes, the day of the move, even though even they just showed up that day. They were in Pine Hall. Trump employee 2 just asked me, "Hey, can we move some boxes?" Okay? And I was like, "Okay." So you didn't know, had no idea how they got there before. No. The underscored statements and representations above were false, as Nauta knew, because Nauta did in fact know that the boxes in Pine Hall had come from the storage room, as Nauta himself, with the assistance of Trump employee 2, had moved boxes from the storage room to the Pine Hall, and 2, Nauta had observed the boxes and moved them to various locations at the Mar-a-Lago Club, all in violation. So this is, and now this is, the rest of this is like legal stuff. So that is the totality of the indictment. I I'm glad we went over it. It was not nearly as long as I thought, because I thought 49 pages of like this solid documentation, but obviously there's a lot of page breaks and a lot of pictures and tables and repeated information. Not to mention all the legal stuff. Like the last line of the indictment, you know, the sign after before being signed is on page 44. There are 5 pages of fluff. But yeah, 38 total counts in the indictment between the two of them. Not all of them. Not all of these counts are for both of them, right? The last one was for only now to the previous one was only for Trump. But I believe the rest of them are both. So each of them with 37 counts in this indictment. And now we know what all this evidence is, which seems pretty overwhelming. Now, remains to be seen how the defense will approach this. What Trump has already said, as we've covered previously, was, shall we say, not a great defense. I'm glad we went over this now, but now, if in case if anyone's like, oh, it was there's no evidence. No, there's a lot, and here it is, and you can look at it. And advise everyone to do so. If you can either rewatch this or look at the document if you're unsure about anything. But a lot of the things people will say about this is fully listed within the indictment. So all that took kind of a bit, but not as long as I thought, and I'm glad we went over it. Does anyone want to like say anything that like is there anything new to anyone in that? I mean, like I'm asking class. Any questions, class? Quite glad I had the iced tea today. I think hot tea would have been very difficult to get through all that with. But yeah, all of that. I'm glad we went over it now, and we can proceed going forward with whatever happens in the case. We'll keep track on that. We'll talk about it as things develop. That said, I do have some, for the rest of the week. As I say, someone asked me to go over some stuff, and I think I will. So we'll do that later. But this was good. I'm glad we went over it. It took a little longer but I'm glad we didn't put it off. I'm glad we came back to it. So thanks all so much for watching, and I guess I'll catch you next time. Have a good one. Bye.